God, Charlie horse. Charlie horse. Oh, God, Charlie horse. Ah. All right. Got some ethereal spears here. Last time I was here, they were blue and blooming. They've already gone to seed. So I'll be dry camping tonight, which means I need to load up on water here. Luckily, it's only a couple miles to where I intend to camp. Then I can cache all my spare water and gear, and then I'll just be day hiking for the rest of the time. But for the time being, this creek here is my only source of water, so I gotta load up on it. Camel up, as they say. Oh, cool. Let's see if we can get some photos. We've got ostracods coming out of the water here. All right. So this structure here correlates roughly on location with the Lewis claim, which was a chromite and magnesite prospect mined here, I believe, around the turn of the century. It's probably one of the newer claims, and I think this structure may have been largely intact up until the recent wildfires. It's a very fascinating find here. I just happened to blunder across it last time I was in the area. You can see there's an oil drum there. There's all this corrugated iron sheeting here. You can see the remains of wood structuring underneath it, so it's probably like a timber frame with this iron covering on it. This may have been a barn too, I'm not entirely sure. There's not a lot of good, concise history of this area up here. So this little section of trail is where I got lost last time I was here. I kept going that way and ended up just kind of fighting my way up over a hill and reconnecting with the trail, when I could have just gone this way and found this really nicely well-developed trail. You can see that even people like myself, who have a lot of experience tracking down old chaparral game trails, essentially, well, we get lost sometimes. And it's always helpful to stop and ask questions and wonder if you made the right turn. And always, always, always have a map. Back here, you can see that kind of bowl shape in the background. That's the remains of an ephemeral pool. What happens is water runs down from all these hills, collects in the lowest point it can find, and stays there and forms a little seasonal pond that becomes a home for all kinds of migrant animals, insect species, crustaceans, mollusks. They're a really important part of how our ecosystems survive and thrive in this area, because Northern California is semi-arid. They're also very important for helping recharge water into the groundwater table, because that bowl allows water to slowly settle into the ground instead of rushing off down to the nearest watershed where it's then brought out to sea. So these little ephemeral pools, when you see them, give them a wave. They'll thank you for it. What does that look like to you, dear viewer? To me, it looks like old mountain lion poop. And over here we have a scrub oak. It's one of the ones that's specialized for this kind of dry environment. It has very coarse, waxy leaves that don't allow a lot of moisture to pass through. They've evolved to conserve water at all possible costs. And we have here some fire damage. You can see this kind of burned up root mass right here. So there had been a tree here, and during the LNU lightning complex fire, the tree burned down, and the fire continued to smolder below the soil and consume almost the entire root base of the plant. Alright, well, I am at my base camp location. I took a quick moment just to kind of relax, catch my breath, had a couple of snacks off camera. I'm currently enjoying that wonderful glow you only get from pooping in a hole. Start setting up my camp. I'm going to start setting up my camp. I'm near my very first prospect I wanted to check out. I've been poking around looking to see if there's any signs of prior mining activity in this area. I don't see a lot. I see a lot of exposed rock, and so I think maybe people poked around and looked and tested rocks for minerality, but I don't think there was any large-scale mining in this area. I think what may have happened is they just took samples, claim to claim, thinking there might be something out here, and then it ended up being nothing noteworthy, which is pretty par for the course for mining. But as it is, it's just nice having a little quiet time to myself. And I might not go all out looking for those other mines. I might just stop and enjoy myself. I don't know. I'll see how I feel after I get camp set up. So I'm near about where the Hampton Prospect is located on the MinDat map. I've looked at all these rock outcrops and I haven't seen any obvious tool marks or cut marks. I really think maybe this may have been like someone found material in a rock, tested it, but it just wasn't high enough concentration, or it just was kind of a false lead. It happens. It's part of mining, is they kind of lay a claim to an area that prospectively has material, but then it never materializes. In fact, that's probably why it's called the Hampton Prospect. There was no active mining here. Most of these areas were either claims or prospects, meaning someone had a hunch there might be material, they dug around, they did some testing, they kind of struck out. And that's kind of the way of mining. It's very, very difficult to get that material out of the earth. It's very, very expensive and costly. Most mining operations go bust very quickly. The majority of the people who make money off of mines either are long-term investors or people selling blankets to miners. Not as me in the direct sunlighty. Yeah, I thought so. So I got some sleepy time tea going here. I've got my chow. Oh, excuse me. Got my chow in the Reflectix bag heating up. Yeah, camp set up. I've had a nice relaxing day. I really had ambitions to go and check out more mines, but I gotta be honest with you, like, between raising 2 very young girls now and working and trying to start a business, and then whatever time I can squeeze in making crappy videos, I'm run down. So I've just been kind of feeding my soul out here a little bit, enjoying myself, and it's nice, it's refreshing. Checking my phone because I sent my wife to go test drive a Subaru I'm looking at. A little Rexy. The thing I really want to lead up to is I was inspecting a vacant home and I found in their crawl space an unopened bottle of Johnny Walker Black Label, and so that is tonight's drink. I know I haven't done any cocktails in a while and it's been on my mind. I have a few written down. I lack time, drive, and ambition sometimes. But anyway, Johnny Walker Black Label. This is like pre-Diageo buyout of Johnny Walker too. Oh man, it smells almost fruity. Happy Pride, because it's Pride weekend right now. Throw a brick at a cop in celebration. Cheers. That's so good. Get that like malty sweetness, and the peatiness, and that like kind of that fruit taste I get with Glenlivet sometimes. Glad I can be sharing it with you right now, my friends. All right, so I'm just waiting on my chow to rehydrate and heat up. I'm curious to see what a 2.5 star review on REI.com means for that Trailtopia meal. I bought it because I liked the size, but it just doesn't math out. Like, that single portion of food cost me $8.50, and for $12 and for $4 more, I could have gotten 2 portions and then portioned it out myself. I was counting on myself not being hungry because my appetite has not been what it's been for a very long time. And I already have a dessert pack too, so. But we will see. I really want to try and outdo my last couple camping videos, especially my birthday one. That one, I just could not get into it. I was feeling probably a lot more desperate and run down then than I am now, but I'm not far off. And it just ended up being me, like, running B-roll. That sucks. So I got some cool finds here. I hope you enjoy it. Have some scotch on me, or tea. Those are my options right now. I do have coffee for tomorrow morning, though. Good morning. I actually slept pretty decently last night. My only real complaint was I was actually too warm. This Rab Mythic Ultra 180 sleeping bag is really freaking effective at keeping body heat trapped in. I was pouring sweat a couple of times, which I know, probably TMI there, sorry. This is the very first time I've had a sleeping bag this light keep me this overly warm. It's kind of nice. Highly recommend this bag. So last night, that was the most uniformly warm I've ever been on a camping trip. I mean, I wasn't even wearing like a base layer or anything when I slept. I just had underoos on and socks. And I was just in my Rab Mythic 180? What is it called? Mythic Ultra 180. That was just so warm. I had a lightweight fleece lining, like you can see through that fleece. This is called a C2 Summit reactor lining, and I use this with this bag because this, they call it the thermo-ionic lining. It's this reflective material here. You can see that. It kind of creates weird like hot and cold spots. So this is just there to kind of minimize skin contact directly with the reflective lining. It was warm. I was like pouring buckets of sweat last night. Good lord. Anyway, it's morning. I'm taking a little breather before I do anything, because why not? Vacation, right? I'm just gonna take it easy. It's breakfast time now, and I have a nice simple but filling breakfast for today. This is the Pro Bar Blueberry Muffin Bar with a cup of Death Wish coffee. Coffee, specifically the kind of cherry chocolate flavors that are native to coffee, really pairs nicely with this blueberry bar. I highly recommend this mix. It's better than the sum of its parts. Smells like mashed up fruit and grains. Cheers. Tastes like mashed up fruit and grains, but made in a factory that produced muffins. Oh, but together, oh, absolutely worth it. This is a really cool find I found in the soil near where I was cooking. It's a tiny little flake of obsidian, and you can tell by these rounded fracture marks on it and the very deliberate edge to it that it was flaked away deliberately by a human being. Most likely from an indigenous person traveling through the area. I'm not aware of many permanent encampments out here, but they would have seasonal village sites where they would stay for the majority of a specific season, for a specific availability of produce, and then they would travel, and so they had little traveling camps as well. The preserve I studied at had one of their transitory camps that was being excavated at the time I was there. This, to me, speaks of maybe a field repair. Maybe they had an obsidian knife that needed to be sharpened or fixed, and so they flaked off a piece that had broken off. It doesn't look like a proper arrowhead, but it might just be too fragmentary. It is definitely indicative of human activity, though. An interesting thing about obsidian is that we're in kind of a migratory area for obsidian.
Are you suggesting coconuts migrate?
Not that I'm not suggesting that obsidian migrates. What I'm saying is that the obsidian that comes out of the Sonoma volcanics is very poor quality. It's very gaseous, it has lots of bubbles in it, and so it doesn't flake into nice, neat knives and arrowheads. Instead, it kind of just becomes sharp dust. However, just a little ways north, in Lake County, the volcanics there produced a very clean kind of obsidian. In fact, it's so clean that they're sometimes referred to as Lake County diamonds. This obsidian volcanic glass is just so chemically pure that it flakes in almost perfect geometric shapes. It's amazing what Lake County diamonds look like. So this could be a piece of material that may have been transported from the Northeast down toward the people living in Pope Valley, maybe, or perhaps living in Napa Valley, or out near what's today Calistoga. Or it could have been something that was brought on a hunt and broken and then repaired in the field. Either way, it's a very fascinating find, and I'm grateful to have come across it. And I'm going to go put it back and just be grateful I had this chance to encounter something like this. So geography time. Right here, this is Pope Valley. It's a prized agricultural area in this region. It's kind of a unique area too because it's not easily accessed. There's like 2 or 3 ways in, basically through Middletown, Angwin. It was a major supplier of magnesium ores during World War II. Magnesium is a lightweight metal used in often aircraft. It was also very important because it was one of the first kind of tourist destinations out here alongside Calistoga, which is just over there. Now over there we can see some hot air balloons rising in the air. It's a very nice sight. That is a very prominent tourist tradition here, is to visit Napa Valley or the outlying regions and hop aboard a hot air balloon in the morning. I helped many hotel guests get to their air balloon flights over my time as a hotel night auditor. It's a special thing. I recommend you try it. But just beyond those hot air balloons is Twin Peaks, part of the Twin Peaks mining region, not to be confused with the David Lynch television series. That area was a major source of mercury ores, or cinnabar, during both world wars. Notable mines out in that area are the Oat Hill Mine, Twin Peaks Mine, the Oat Hill Extension Mine, which actually was in operation until very recently and is in the process of a major cleanup, or may have already been completed. Further to the northwest there is Mount St. Helena, as she's known in the Western tongue, or to the Yuki people here in formerly of this area, Kanemota, which means human mountain, because when you catch it at just the right angle, it looks like a woman lying prone on her side. So Cobb, Kanemota, and Sugarloaf are some of the largest mountains in the Sonoma volcanics. Now moving along, you can see just in the background a silhouette of my very special place on Earth, Snow Mountain, which I really want to go back to. It pains me that I haven't been there in a long time. This is why I wanted to come here in the first place. because I day hiked this trail and I saw this view and I was just immediately smitten with it. It's gorgeous.